What's up everybody, Afiq here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. How you guys doing? So today I have this. So this is the classic, okay, a very iconic car. It is the Mercedes Benz E-Class, particularly the W124. Okay, so for this particular Mercedes, it has been called many things. Okay, over-engineered Mercedes, reliable Mercedes, it's a bulletproof Mercedes Benz. Okay, so without further ado, let's check out this iconic classic sedan from German, and this is ABB Automotive. Okay, so here at the front of the Mercedes Benz W124, personally for me, I love this face more than the model after it. Okay, you know, the circular headlight one. Okay, so the car that you see here is the W124 pre-facelift. Okay, so the facelift version, compared to the pre-facelift, is that the pre-facelift one has orange indicator. If the facelift car, it's one color unit, same as the headlight. Okay, meaning it's see-through lah. Okay. And then this car is the pre-facelift because the bumper here, this black part is not colored. If the facelift car, it is colored, right? And if you can see at this car, the bottom bumper, it doesn't have any fog light, but that's because the fog light is at the main headlight over here. So on the outer side of the headlight, this is your low beam and high beam, and then the middle part is actually the fog light itself. Okay, so one unit in the headlight. Okay, of course, this front end, the star of the front end, the design element is this grille. So this grille is very iconic Mercedes-Benz 80s-90s design. Okay, so as you can see, it is on this car, it's still very good condition. The chrome is still very nice. Okay, you do have the classic Mercedes-Benz emblem at the top, which is very iconic. Okay, love that because you can see it from the driver's seat, knowing that you are driving a Mercedes. Okay, so overall, the front end of this Mercedes-Benz, I think it's still design-wise, it looks very proportional. I like it. Okay, like I said, I like this more compared to the newer E-Class. Okay, under the hood of the W124, so this particular generation of Mercedes, there are so many engines. Okay, depending on where you are in the world, I think totaling up, there's like more than 10 engine choices. Okay, you have inline 4, you have inline 6, inline 5-cylinder diesel. Okay, this one is a petrol, and then of course in the United States you have the 400E, which is a V8. Okay, but this particular car is a 4-cylinder so this is the 230E. So 230E meaning it has a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder petrol engine. So this engine, some of the spec, okay, is using a mechanical fuel pump, or also known as the Jetronic system. Okay, in terms of horsepower and torque, this engine, it produces 134 horsepower with 205 Nm of torque. So power is sent through the rear wheels, okay, via a 4-speed automatic transmission. Okay, now in some countries you can get this car with manual transmission, but for this particular car, it's a 4-speed automatic. In terms of the horsepower, of course, it is not that big, but it is quite class competitive when it first came out last time. So yeah, kudos to the owner as well for keeping this engine running over 40 years. Okay guys, so now I have moved to the side of the Mercedes-Benz W124. As you can see from the side of this car has a very nice side profile. I think in terms of sedan profile, this is absolutely beautiful. Okay, because most of new sedan nowadays, you have to adhere to modern design standard. The design can be very pressed together. So older classic design, I love this Mercedes-Benz. It has that traditional sedan shape where it has a very long front end and a very long rear end. It looks very well proportioned. Okay, so design highlight on this car, so this particular car is the silver one. Okay, so as you can see, this car has a body panel over here. Now from what I know, the original W124, when it first came out, it doesn't have this body panel. Okay, so speaking of that, this particular car over here was built in 1988. Okay, so this car is now more than 40 years old. Okay, this car is older than me. Okay, of course, even though this car is very old, the owner has tried to modernize the look with those beautiful rims. Okay, so this is a 17-inch AMG rim. As you can see, it is very slightly deep dish. Okay, would you believe that this rim is only 17-inch? Yet on this car, it looks so big. When I first saw this car, I thought it was 18-inch. And kudos to the owner as well. I think this rim really matched the overall aesthetic of the car. Okay, the car looked very smart. Okay, very, how do you say, understated. Okay, understated, but at the same time very beautiful. Other thing to highlight on this car, the side mirror. So as you know, for this particular W124, it has that not symmetrical side mirror. So the one on the right here is slightly smaller compared to the passenger side. Or most people will say the right side, the driver's side is long, the passenger side is short. I don't know why Mercedes do this last time. They're basically over-engineered. Okay, they think of every single thing. Okay, now going towards the side of the car again, I do love the door handle over here. It has this chrome strip. Okay, the door, okay, still very solid. Love it. Okay, towards the top of the car, you have a straight roof. Okay, this is what I meant by that classic sedan proportion. And then towards the back, you see the rear shaft is very long. And I love this particular car as well. The C pillar is so thick. Okay, this is very iconic W124 design. From far already you can see, especially with this design element over here. Okay, this is a very iconic design. Okay, overall, the side of the Mercedes Benz, highlighting the wheel again. So this particular wheel over here, the spec is 225. Okay, 17 inch, and then it is 45R. So for this car, it's actually quite a chunky tire. Overall, the side of the Mercedes Benz, I absolutely love this W124 from the side. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, here at the back of the Mercedes Benz W124, this back end, until today, I still think it looks very clean and very neat. Okay, so this particular car being the 230E, as you can see over here. So depending on what spec you get, if you get the V8, then it will be a 400E, okay, and so on. And for the pre-facelift E-Class, okay, if it's a pre-facelift, the E is located behind the number. After the facelift, they move the E to the front of the number. Okay, so after the facelift, it will be the E230. If it's pre-facelift, it will be the 230E. Okay, we have a very nice logo over here, the Mercedes-Benz. The owner obviously up-badged this car. You know, AMG, a very modern AMG badge, but I respect his decision. Okay, right? So the one thing I like about the Mercedes-Benz doing this time, right, you can actually pop the hood without needing to put the key into the key slot. So you press this button, okay, it will open the rear trunk. So this design, it continues on with the model after this generation as well. Okay, the boot space during that time, this is considered a very big boot space, and from now on, I can see also on, like it's very deep and very long. Okay, so boot space is really not an issue. So the one thing I want to highlight is that for Mercedes-Benz, they have this triangle warning sign. So every single Mercedes-Benz back then, they have this located on the hood. If, say like your car broke down in the middle of the highway, so you can put this behind your car to warn the incoming traffic. Okay, so yeah, the back end of the Mercedes-Benz. Okay, now the one thing I like, it has this antenna. I'm so happy that when the owner told me that the antenna on this car still works. Okay, when you turn on the radio, it will rise up. If you turn off the radio, it will go down. Okay. Now looking at the rest of the car, like I mentioned before, black bumper indicates that it's a pre-facelift. If facelift, then you have a colored bumper. Even at this number plate area, the facelift one, the number plate area is just very small. It's just until here. But the pre-facelift car is the entire length of the hood. Okay. Now the one thing about this car is that back then, Mercedes really over-engineered this car. So one of the most common issues they have in Germany is snow. Okay, so they designed the rear tail lamp over here to specifically, design it in a way that even if the rear tail light is covered with snow, people from the back can still see the light thanks to this design, okay, this layer design, because that if the back end is dirty, the inner part of the light is still quite bright. It is not exposed to the element, so the light you can still see towards the back. So I call that over-engineering. Okay, for me, I just need a light, that's it. But Mercedes, no, the light cannot see in snow. We have to fix that. Okay, so yeah, the back end of the Mercedes-Benz, I still think this is very iconic. Okay, from far you will know that this is the E-Class. Okay, yeah, over time, I think this car design-wise, it ages very beautifully. Okay, another thing to highlight about this car, I also love the rear glass of this car. So as you can see, the glass, it has a slight curve towards the side. Not many modern cars have that. Okay, this car is a slight curve, and curved glass is very hard to make. Okay, another thing, final touch, I want to highlight that I love the chrome strip that is around the glass as well as on the roof of the car. This particular car, it has sort of like this rose gold color, which looks very elegant, you know, almost like a champagne color, if you will. Okay, so yeah, the back end of the E-Class, very iconic design. What do you call this? It ages very beautifully, and I think it's one of the best Mercedes-Benz design. Okay guys, so I'm here in the driver's seat of the Mercedes-Benz E-Class W124. So this particular car, the interior, as you can see, the color tone is beige color with a darker grey shade on the dashboard. Okay, so what are the details inside this car? So definitely inside this car, I do feel like I'm traveling back in time, you know, to the 80s, where, you know, luxury is like beige color, and then you have a lot of wood panel. Okay, so in front of me, the steering is black color, same color as the top part of the dashboard. Unfortunately, it's an old car, so you don't have any modern switches or stuff like that. Okay, and then the steering itself, from my understanding, this is a fixed column. Okay, so during that time, you don't have the luxury to adjust the steering wheel compared to nowadays. But in terms of my driving position, actually not an issue. That the steering is not that far, and then the angle is just okay for me. Right in front of me, you do have a 3D Mercedes-Benz logo, which is quite interesting because if you think about it, this car came out in the 80s. A lot of cars in the 80s don't have 3D looking logo. Okay, most of the time the logo is embroidered into the dashboard. The center stack, I am a fan that it is very neat looking. Okay, you have the two square icon at the top, right? You have the control for the climate control. Okay, at the bottom you have a single DIN audio system. Obviously, the owner has changed to a slightly modern one to keep up with the time. You do have a space down here for your cigarette lighter and rubbish lah. Okay, so it is what do you call this? A travel back in time kind of a situation. Okay. Now the one thing I noticed about older Mercedes is that the switch for the window is not located at the door. It is located at the center console. Okay, so you want to roll the window up and down. Okay, okay, it is located at the center console area. At the center console area, I would say it looks quite clean. Unfortunately, for this model, it doesn't have any armrest. But in its place, there is this large tray area, and then some more, the tray is carpeted. Okay, so yeah, it feels quite fancy lah. And then the way you adjust the chair for this car is using the rotary knob at the side here. Okay, for the passenger side as well, and then you have the lever on the side here, right? The car in front of me, in terms of trim and material, this is soft touch material. Okay, at the bottom, it is plastic. Okay, but you do have the wood panel that runs the length of the car, and then at the center console also. And then this one controls the 4-speed automatic. Okay, on this particular car, I do like that the design is the gated type. Okay, it doesn't have the button like the modern Mercedes. Okay, towards the right, the switch for the headlight, and I seen this bring over to the modern Mercedes-Benz. This is the original switch for the headlight. It's that very big knob. Okay, turning from your parking light to your main beam to your high beam is located on the right side, and just underneath it is the release for the parking brake. But for this particular Mercedes, to engage the parking brake is what we call doing foot operated. But when you release it over here. Okay, modern Mercedes, both releasing and engaging is from the side. Alright. This particular Mercedes, because this is the pre-facelift one, it doesn't have any dual front airbags. Okay, so for the passenger side, you do have a glove compartment. Okay, it is a decent size square, and then inside the glove compartment, it is also carpeted. And then on the dashboard, you actually have this place to put your cup. But for me, you can only use it when you are not moving. If you're driving, this is not a very good cup holder. Okay, I do like that the owner of this car has put that McDonald's Mercedes-Benz logo over there, which is quite cheeky, quite nice lah. Okay, this car is equipped with fabric seat, and I've got to say, this car is what, since 1980. It is almost 40 years old, more than 40 years old actually. But you see the fabric, it is still in such a good condition. The material they use, the fabric they use is very high quality, and I do like the pattern on this. Okay, very distinctive pattern. And then you do have piping. Okay, even though it's a fabric chair, but you have piping around the chair, which is quite an interesting design. Okay, the chair itself, I would say, very nice bolstering. Okay, very nice bolstering, and yeah, it's actually quite comfortable and very supportive. I do like this front seat very much. Okay, so on top of me, I do have a sunroof. Okay, Mercedes Benz back then, the sunroof is quite special. Okay, most of the modern car, the sunroof is glass. But for this particular car, the sunroof is metal top. Okay, from the outside, it looks the same as the paint of the car lah, right? Overall, inside here, it is a very classic design. It definitely brings me back in time. Okay, and I definitely learned to appreciate old school Mercedes Benz design. Okay, so I moved to the back seat of the W124. So I am sitting behind my driving position. I'm 166 cm height. So the thing is about old cars, especially cars in the 80s, for the rear passenger, most of the time, what do you call this? In terms of interior space, it's not the best. Okay, but I'm happy to report that with the E-Class, because the E-Class back then in the 80s is considered to be one of the bigger cars on the market. Okay, it's considered like a full-size sedan, right? So inside here, I'm happy to report that it is so comfortable. Okay, I have high support, and then the back here I have headrest. So I would say if I close my eyes, I don't really feel like I'm in an old car. Okay, it feels quite comfortable. In terms of amenities, dual mat pocket, okay, quite nice. And then I do have a very chunky center armrest. Okay, the center armrest, is like sofa like that now. Okay, so unfortunately no cup holder. Okay, because this is an old car. Okay, but I do have place to throw my rubbish at the side of the door here. Okay, so this is a very classic Mercedes trademark. Okay, you have a lot of this compartment to chuck your things in. Okay, just like the front, for the passenger side, I do have a grab handle over here. The grab handle is very big and chunky, very long. Okay, for the back here, I do have a switch. Okay, for my power window. Okay, but then you can also control it from the front lah. Okay, so overall back here, I feel like the sitting position is very comfortable, even for an old car. In terms of room, headroom also, even though I lay back, I have enough headroom. Okay, my head is not touching at all the ceiling, even though I have a spiky hair. So overall, the experience back here is very comfortable for an old 1980 Mercedes. Okay guys, so I am behind the wheel of this Mercedes Benz W124 230e. Okay, so obviously this car, with that cc, okay, it has a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine. So right off the bat, don't expect that much power lah. Okay, some more this car is rear wheel drive, and then it has a very heavy body. So the perfect way for me to describe this car is a very relaxed and gentleman car. Okay, it is very comfortable to ride in, despite having 17-inch rim with low profile tire. Surprisingly, the ride quality is very comfortable. Okay, it's not very hard at all. What is like driving this car compared to modern car is, the first thing I noticed is the steering. To me, the steering is huge. Like, it's very big compared to modern car. Okay, it's a very big steering wheel. Okay, and then visibility, surprisingly, like towards the front, towards the back, visibility is very good, because the car is a big square box, so the visibility out is just nice. Okay, now the one thing I want to complain is the side mirror on the driver's side. The passenger side, no issue, nice and big. The driver's side is so tiny. It's so tiny, like it's very hard for me to look up from that side mirror. Okay, but then over time you will get used to it lah. Okay, and you still have a very nice and big rear view mirror. Okay, the rest of the car, for this particular car, surprisingly over 20 years, the aircon is still cold. Okay, I don't hear any noise from inside the cabin, no loose part, and then surprisingly the sound insulation is very good for a car that's over 40 years old. Okay, the 4-speed automatic transmission, the gear change, because this is the older type 4-speed automatic, none of that solenoid power 4-speed. So the gear change is on the rougher side, like it's not as smooth as modern transmission. Okay, And then from off the line as well, this car, there is a slight delay in terms of its power because the 2.3 liter engine to me is just enough to power this car. Okay. Now the steering wheel, there is a little bit of a free play on the steering wheel. Understandable because this is a car from the 80s, because back then the Mercedes Benz, this particular car is using a steering box. Okay. Modern cars nowadays are using rack and pinion. So rack and pinion has a more direct steering to direction connection. Okay. But for steering box, even not just the E-Class, a lot of other cars as well, it has some sort of free play. Okay. But it's not to say that the free play is a lot until it's very hard to steer. No, in a straight line, this car is still very stable, and it doesn't feel like the car is gonna wander off. Okay, just that compared to modern steering, there is slight free play because of the gearbox design. Okay. Now the one thing I like also inside this interior, the pedal. All Mercedes Benz, they're using this organ type pedal brake. So what does that mean is that the bottom part of the accelerator pedal is attached to the floor. Okay, so that gives the accelerator pedal an angle that is actually very nice on your feet. Okay, it feels very upright. Okay, so I do like organ pedal, accelerator pedal. My old car last time, my Kia Sportage, also have the same feature. So for me, driving this, it felt like driving my Kia last time, the pedal position. Okay, a lot of modern cars, they're still using, they changed already to that floating style pedal. Okay, the rest of the interior, despite this car being 40 years old, I really don't have any issue with this. As long as you have radio and cold aircon, I think this is still a comfortable car even for daily purposes. Okay, of course, looking forward, okay, I love that you are reminded that you are driving a Mercedes by that hood ornament. Okay, and then it's just standing there loud and proud. Okay, this is a Mercedes Benz, so I do appreciate that very much. Again, Mercedes Benz ride and quality, I am very amazed. Despite this car already changing to the bigger rim, the ride is very supple, very controlled, I might say, and it has a nice balance of being comfortable but not too floaty. Okay, so the ride quality is very balanced. So wrapping up my experience in the E-Class, I definitely appreciate this car very much, and I do start to understand why certain people really love this old E-Class. Okay, particularly this owner is my friend. He bought this car, and then I also have two uncles who owns this car as well, and they really love it. Okay, and I can understand why. This car, you really feel like back then, this is German engineering at its best. So they really over-engineered this car, and then the build quality of this thing, I would say, is really solid. Okay, from the door, okay, the rear antenna still work. Okay, so overall, my experience in the W124, it's not a car for me. Okay, but I appreciate and respect owners who own this car and decided to keep it and decided to play with it, because I can definitely think that this is definitely appealing, for the slightly younger generation. And for the slightly older generation, this is a very appealing package. The car is very comfortable. Okay, even driving it in a daily situation, I love how comfortable it is, and you can't help to feel like a very old school, dignified businessman or royalty, or like driving this car. This was the epitome of luxury back then. So overall, the W124, I think, is a very nice classic car. If you wish to buy one for collectors purposes, I think you should buy one. I think it's a car that has a very big character.